Well guys, I really didn't want to make this video, but I feel like I need to. Well, I haven't really wanted to make this video, but there's something that I haven't necessarily been hiding from you guys, but I just haven't told you. I sold the C10. Yep. Guy from California came by, checked it out, and took her home. It's bittersweet. You know, it was a fun truck. It was a fun project. It took me a couple years to finish it. Started it in Utah, finished it here in Arizona, so you know I had to move it in boxes and pieces. But yeah, it's gone. So the sweet part is it's gonna tie up some funds to play around with the S10 a little bit more. You guys saw I got a trailer, so now I can actually get out and go to events and be able to travel and not be tight on money. Also means that I can do some of the upgrades that I've wanted to do to the S10, but just haven't been able to because of funds. One of those upgrades I've mentioned before in the past videos, and that's kind of what I'm working on today. I've already kind of got started on it. I'm right in the middle of it, so we'll just kind of jump in and show you what I've got done. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be getting a lot of crap for what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, but I don't care because that's why I have a carburetor on this thing in the first place. I don't really care what people think. I'm just kind of doing it the way I want to do it. You know, this is all kind of experimental stuff that I just had a wild thought in my head and thought, I wonder if that would work. So I'm trying it and we're gonna see if it works. If it doesn't work, we can always go back or we can always change the plan, but it's just kind of something I had in my head and I'm gonna try it. All right, so now that I've shown you what it is that we're putting on this, let me just kind of explain. There's been a couple other guys that have done this before on their YouTube channels. I'm not the first one to do this, but basically the whole reason that we're getting rid of the MSD and switching over to the Holley Terminator is just better data logging, built-in boost controller, and a lot better tuning as far as spark and all that kind of stuff goes. You can run a bigger map sensor, so that gives us room for growth for boost, whereas the MSD only had a 2-bar map sensor in it. Let's see, battery guide, where was I? The MSD is kind of the beginner stage, which was working perfectly for me, and that's kind of where I'm at. But right now, I want to be able to grow with this thing, and then plus, if I ever decide that the carburetor is just not working for me anymore, all I gotta do is plug in the injectors and we'll be EFI ready to go. So it's just kind of baby steps. I'm not saying that this truck won't ever be EFI, but as long as I can, I'm gonna keep the carburetor on it. But so kind of just show you guys what we're doing here. I've already gutted a lot of wiring out of this thing. I've spent the last probably 3 or 4 nights out here cleaning up the wiring. In previous videos, you probably saw that there was a whole lot more wires throughout here. This is like the vehicle harness and stuff. I went through, cut out everything that wasn't needed, wasn't being used, and just cleaned everything up. So as you can see, it looks a whole lot better now than it did. I've still got to finish up over in that corner where the wires for the headlights and everything go through the firewall there. I also added this painless switch panel up here to the roll cage. Got rid of the dinky switch panel that I had up there that was obviously in the wrong spot anyways because I couldn't reach it. And then just got all of the wires nice and tucked. So under here, I'm just running all the wires out through the firewall. Basically all I'm going to be using is crank, cam. Probably going to hook up a fuel pressure sensor, get rid of this gauge so that I can actually see what my fuel pressure is and it can log that. So crank, cam, fuel pressure, the O2 sensor, and I have to hook up the throttle position and just do the learn, and then I can take it off. And coils, and then unplug, leave the fuel injectors unplugged, and it should work. I kind of already got the harness in here through the firewall, and I want to run it under here with the ECM back here somewhere just because there's so much extra wire and that will kind of use it up, but this has to be removable and that's going through it there. So I don't know, might swing it in over here and run it down the side. We'll play with that. Yeah, like I said, I've been out here for probably about 3 nights after work just cleaning up wiring and doing wiring, so it's been monotonous and boring and nothing really to film. But yeah, I'm just taking all the old stuff out, putting the new stuff in, so I'm kind of excited to see if this is going to work. Actually, I know it's going to work because other guys have done it, but I'm excited to see if I can make this work. Hopefully this will just help the S10 grow and just be, you know, a competitor down the road. So just gonna keep on working and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I just got done saying how boring wiring is, so I filmed some wiring. But the only way you can make wiring cool is with time lapse. But you guys watched me get these little guys on here. These things are pretty cool. They're little magnetic wire ties. They've got a little slot there for a zip tie, and they just stick to wherever you want them. So that way, if I want to pull the center console out, all I gotta do is pull them off, and I can pull the center console out. Can adjust the tension just by sliding them. They're kind of cool. I believe they're called Mag Daddies, but yeah, I picked these up at work at Speedway Motors, but not sponsored. Just thought they were kind of cool. But got my neutral safety wires ran, put a little grommet right there, threaded it through, and hooked up my wires. You can see that I put heat shrink all the way over this terminal, because when that's on, this tin cover basically rests on that. There is a like a piece of clear tape in there to help keep it from shorting out, but I put that heat shrink all the way over the spade terminal just to be a little bit more insurance, keep it from arcing out. But yeah, looking pretty good there. So now I just need to get the rest of the Terminator wires all figured out, what's what. One of them is going to be keyed power. I think these are fuel pump, trigger, tachometer, and maybe keyed power. I don't know, I gotta look. These are all the outputs. These are some more stuff, I don't really know. And then I've got to get, main harness runs up here. Like I said, I think I'm gonna mount the ECU back here somewhere, but somewhere easy to get to. And then I've got to run the main harness for the, even with that freaking swing out door bar, it's still hard to get in and out of that just because I'm such a big boy. But anyways, the Holley, if you've ever installed one of these or watched any kind of how-to videos on it, then you know that it is critical for the Holleys to run this power cable directly to the battery. No junction blocks, no splicing, straight to the battery. So I've got to run this all the way back here to the battery that's in the bed. And so like I use these junction blocks or these bulkheads to go through the bed for my battery cables. I'm not going to be able to use those. So I'm going to have to come through with a grommet somewhere in here close by and run it directly to the battery. And I got new battery terminals because these were just kind of a late night Amazon thing. I saw them and thought they were cool, but check it out. They're like a quick connect, so you just lift it up and it comes off. And then push it down and it's on. But they're kind of cheesy. It was just kind of one of them things. I was late night Amazon shopping, which is dangerous for me. And they were like, I don't know, probably 10 bucks or something for those. So I ordered them, and they're not what you want on your drag truck. But I've got some regular ones to put on that when the time comes. But so just some more wiring. I don't really know how to make this more exciting, but probably not going to get this thing running in this video just because there's still a lot of stuff that I need to kind of figure out and figure out how I want to do it and how I want to. There's just a lot of stuff I still need to figure out. Short way to say it, but we'll see. So I'm sitting here reading the instructions, and this red wire has to be hooked straight to battery because it's providing power to the fuel injectors, the fuel injectors and the fuel pump, which neither one I'm using, so I'm not going to hook that up. This green wire is what you would run to your fuel pump to power it. Not using that because I have my fuel pump already wired up here. This just goes to run a traditional tack if you want. So I don't think I'm going to be using any of those. This harness here is all your inputs and outputs. This connector here, I cannot find in the instructions at all. It doesn't show it in the picture of the harness. See, it doesn't show it here, which is a different part of the harness anyways. But if I go back, so in this picture here, here's those wires that I was just talking about. Here's the input and output connector, and this one is right in line with it, and it doesn't show it anywhere here. And it doesn't talk about it in the instructions that I can see. So I really don't know what this is for. If anybody knows what this is for, please leave me a comment below so that I can figure it out. In the meantime, I guess I'll do some Google searching, forum reading, see if I can figure out what it is. But like I said, it's directly across from the input and output. But in this picture, it doesn't show it. These are all predetermined outputs and one input that's on this. But yeah, I don't know what this is for. So if you know what this is for, leave me a comment and let me know. I'm ready for a nap. Oh, man. All right, so some things have changed. I've got the Terminator harness ran this way instead of down through here. I just didn't really like that. Plus, this uses up some of the extra wire harness anyways. Got the ECU mounted over there. I can see the lights, which are like code reading data lights, basically. Power harnesses ran out through the floor there. This harness here, these 3 wires that I said I wasn't using, I lopped them off and just put a weather pack on there, kind of like Holley did here. So that's there if I need to ever use it in the future. Plus it just looks a little bit nicer. So yeah, everything's, I got the keyed power and the little ground done to the ECU. All I gotta do is hook up the main power wires to the battery. And then over here, I've got the little display here. I'm gonna see, one of my buddies has a 3D printer. I'm gonna see if he can 3D print me a little mount, just to mount it to the steering column there. And then here's the fuel injector harness that I'm not going to be using. So we'll just put that aside for now and save it. O2 sensor. This is the same O2 sensor that I already had installed for the air fuel ratio gauge that I used to be running. So I just used it since it's already installed, so that's an extra. And then we've got the input and output harness here. We'll be using that here soon once I hook up trans brake, 2-step, stuff like that. Hopefully that's where that comes into. Terminals for the battery and ground at the battery. But so under here, got the power wire ran as far as I could, and it ended up coming up short. Story of my life. So I've got to extend these wires, and they're 10 gauge, I think. I don't have any wire this size, so I'm gonna have to get some of that later and do that, and then we'll be good to go there. So I think I'm at kind of a stopping point for tonight. Yeah, I don't really see what else I could be doing. I could finish up the wires going through the firewall for the headlights, but man, I'm sick of doing wiring. It's like my 5th night out here doing wiring. So what am I doing? But a little update on what's going on around here. You guys saw my welder quit on me. I asked on my Instagram, I did a poll, and if you're not following me on Instagram, follow me here. But I did a poll on my Instagram about what welder to get. Previously I was using the Everlast, and it was a good welder, lasted me 6 years. But I was just kind of wanted to see what everybody else was using. And just as I suspected, like 90% of people said to get a Miller. Now I would love to get a Miller, but I don't really have Miller money. You can get almost 2 other brand welders for what you can with 1 Miller. And I know buy once, cry once, you get what you pay for. But I started doing some research, and it turns out that like for an inverter style welder, 3 to 5 years is like a normal lifespan for them. Even on the Millers, there's guys that are having them go out on them less than 5 years. So I don't really know. I do kind of have a welder in the works. I've been kind of talking back and forth with the company, trying to figure out which exactly one would be best for me. Because like I said, I need a MIG. That was what went out. I want to do TIG. I need to do AC and DC TIG so I can do aluminum. And I'm kind of a hobbyist, but I kind of want to step up and, you know, grow and improve my skills, and maybe start doing, you know, some fab work for You know, like maybe some of you guys that are here local in Arizona that, you know, want a turbo kit done or something like that, that I feel comfortable enough doing that kind of work. Like right now, my skills aren't that great. I don't really feel comfortable doing a turbo kit for someone just because I don't want to, you know, give poor quality. Not saying that, I just feel like I could probably do a little bit better if I'm going to be charging someone for it. But with that being said, I'm probably going to end the video right here, and then we'll start back up on the S10 in the next video, or who knows. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. It feels like all I do is work on this truck and never really get to use it. But you know, there's no traxel open right now, so kind of just seems like working on it is what I do to pass the time. So hopefully we get it going here pretty quick, guys, and actually get it out to a track. I know they're doing a lot more stuff down in Tucson than they are here locally, so we might have to buzz down there one of these days and do something down there. But as always, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Hit the button if you're not already, and we'll see you on the next one.